Duet Night Abyss didn't hold back on its character teasers in the main story. Jilu, Yuming, Suyi, Camilla, and Hilda have all been confirmed for future versions, but they're old news. From most obvious to the most hidden, here are all the characters who will definitely become playable someday. Because, let's face it, DNA doesn't care about putting polygons into their NPC models. This video contains speculation and spoilers for the 1.0 story. You've been warned. After completing the first chapter of DNA, you're thrust into the decision of what to name your protagonist. No, not this one. There's a second protagonist, which is where the duet in the title comes from. By default, your first protagonist is named Vita, meaning life, while this second protagonist is named Mors, meaning death. You can choose either the male or female version of both of these characters in any combination you want, but unlike Vita, Mors isn't a typical playable character. Older than our first protagonist, Mors is a soldier working for the very empire Vita is fighting against. Something is amiss, however. A dark voice speaks to Mors, urging them to commit unspeakable acts. When you gain control of them in combat for a brief time, it's clear that the devs wanted to experiment with their combat style. Unlike everyone else in this game, Mors has a dodge that slows time when perfectly executed. But jarringly, just as fast as you're thrust into controlling Mors is taken away from you and you play the rest of Chapter Twilight in control of your usual characters. As far as 1.1, you never get to play Mors again. This is almost certainly going to change when the story reveals more about Mors for two reasons. One, Vita wasn't made playable until right before the game's launch, indicating that they were never supposed to be playable to begin with and something changed during development. And two, we can actually purchase Mors' weapon from the shop. It's a matter of when, not if. There's a gorgeous young woman sitting in the center of Ice Lake City, and speaking to her is completely optional. Get close enough and you'll get to hear her playing a song. This is the Earnest Bard. If you speak to her, you'll notice she's even fully voice acted. The Bard hails from the Elysian Church, the same faction that Lisbel and Truffle come from. Various sources throughout the game make one thing clear: the Church and the Empire are enemies. After all, the Elysian Church cherishes Charons, while the Empire only shows extreme prejudice against them. This woman drops some massive lore implications about Vita and Mors, but I won't spoil that for you here. In any case, she's prominent, she's voiced, she knows way too much about our protagonists, and she's even been featured in some official artwork posted to Twitter. She's definitely going to be playable, so it's great that she was revealed so early and in such a casual manner. Remember those spoilers I mentioned? They get worse from here. Now you've been double warned. Katya is a character we meet in Chapter Twilight. Mors and their squad take Katya's group into their custody, deciding that, good or bad, it would be safer to keep the Charons where they can see them. Noticing that she is wrought with scars, Mors decides not to strip search Katya to spare her dignity, something that she shows an ominous gratitude for. However, it soon becomes clear that Katya knows far too much about the Imperial facility she's in, and she's called out by Mors' ally, Avar. Katya drops the axe and her cloak and tries to kill Avar, but is ultimately subdued. Her innocent facade melts away and she delivers one of my favorite lines in the game.
Oh, you look like an angry bull. I'm so sorry, sir. I forgot you like it better when I talk like this.
Gone is the pathetic victim, replaced with an imperceptible villain. Katya is a force of chaos who oozes mockery. The voice of violence in Mors' head encourages them to end Katya's life as payment for her impudence, something that many players may be tempted to agree with. In fact, if you select the option to draw your blade enough times, you'll be treated to an extremely cool, totally missable cutscene. Katya manages to escape unscathed, so there's no doubt a character with such an unusual design, and oh so many polygons, will be playable. After all, she certainly wouldn't be the first playable antagonist in this game. We're starting to get to the more obscure characters now. Flora is a character whose artwork was featured on the official website a long time ago, along with the likes of Hilda, who have both since been removed. Not much is known about her other than that she has a connection to Hilda, and they both seem to have a connection to the Hyperborean Empire. Although she has the appearance and behavior of a villain, particularly in DNA's reveal trailer, Flora has since been depicted inside a cage, perhaps indicating that she feels trapped by the Empire. At the end of Sybil's trailer, we get a glimpse of Flora from behind. This is speculation, but this tease may be because her model wasn't fully upgraded yet, so they couldn't show the front. We can definitely expect this model to be improved from the launch trailer, given how prominent Flora features in marketing. In addition, you can actually use emojis based on Flora in-game. They've been there since the start. Flora will almost certainly be playable someday soon, but she will probably be a big-ticket character who is highly anticipated. I expect her to drop when the stakes are highest, like maybe an anniversary event. DNA's launch trailer revealed a Pope-like character who hasn't been seen since. The attire likely means that she has a position of power in the Elysian Church. We really don't know that much about the church or the characters who are from Elysia just yet, but one thing is certain. We'll go there someday, and when we do, we'll probably encounter its leader. Whether this woman receives a redesign before being introduced to the story is anyone's guess. After all, many of the characters shown in the launch trailer did receive design changes. Rebecca actually had white hair like in her artwork, while Tabitha had a taller model that matched her artwork a bit better than the final model. That said, this probably Elysian lady is far too detailed to be unimportant, so if she hasn't been axed from the game, we can expect her to be playable at some point. We're in really obscure territory now. During the Hymn of Dawn trailer, Moores is seen pointing a sword at a woman who appears to be inspired by Zero from Drakengard 3. If that wasn't enough to convince you of the Zero reference, another piece of artwork from this same trailer seems to show something like a sword being pulled out of the flower in her eye. Maybe it's also a reference to revolutionary girl Utena. Either way, with her massive horns and detailed design, she'll surely be playable eventually. Before we get to the final character on our list, it's time for some honorable mentions. Characters who seem interesting but aren't quite dead ringers to become playable. In the roguelite game mode Mystic Maze, there's a recurring character who even gets his own model, the Mysterious Merchant. Cool design aside, his model looks fairly unpolished compared to the other characters on this list, so if he becomes playable one day, it will have to be after a redesign. Still, it's nice to interact with a unique NPC tied to a strange plot in a weekly game mode. At the start of the game, Camilla is contracted by a man in white to save Vita from certain doom. This honorable mention is extremely villain-coded, which begs the question, why is he saving the protagonist? It wouldn't surprise me if he became playable one day after we learn more about him, but it probably won't be with this appearance. Could he be someone we've already met? Or maybe someone totally different? That brings us to our final honorable mention. When everything is starting to look hopeless for Moores, an unexpected savior steps in, Virgilius. Despite his nobility and connections, Virgilius is actually an old acquaintance of Moores, and his intervention narrowly stops Moores from being executed. At the end of Chapter Twilight, while watching an opera we'll come to know about in the following chapter, Virgilius hits Moores with a preposition, become his bodyguard. Moores agrees, and the rest remains a mystery for now. The name Virgilius is Latin for Virgil. Besides being the motivated power guy from Devil May Cry, Virgil was an ancient Roman poet, the same one who's featured in the Divine Comedy guiding Dante through hell. Given this, Virgilius' love of opera makes sense. Perhaps he too is something of a poet. This man has a better model than many of DNA's playable male characters, but something about his outfit leaves me wondering if he's truly intended to be playable. He does have a removable looking cape, but I'm not sure that's enough. But you've waited long enough. Here's the final character I'm sure will be playable thanks to some hidden clues. Duet Night Abyss is no stranger to playable dead characters, which is why the final character on this list is someone that everyone thinks is dead. I'm talking about one of the villains of Chapter Twilight, Falsy. You might think she's just here because she has a detailed model, and while that's part of the reason, there's undeniable evidence to suggest we'll be seeing her more soon. In Chapter Twilight, Falsy is at the heart of Moore's near execution. After the events at Lonza Fortress, she's announced to be dead, erasing any chance of a confession that could save Moore's. Coincidentally, Falsy is a verb meaning to forge, counterfeit, or falsify, which is exactly what she does. Her design is cute but unremarkable, which is precisely why she's going to change outfits before becoming playable. Look at this. The artwork for the global launch livestream clearly shows Falsy in a completely different outfit. one much more suited for a playable character. She'll be back to cause trouble sooner or later, and that will be the perfect opportunity to make her playable. Moore's the Earnest Bard, Katya, Flora, Pope Lady, Flower Eye Lady, and Falsy will all likely be playable during the 1.x series of patches. Which ones are you looking forward to most? For me, it's definitely Katya and Flora. Teasing 7 future characters is pretty impressive by gacha standards, given that DNA was originally intended to be a character gacha that got changed at the last minute. Character collecting games are so much stronger when you have a long time to anticipate the arrival of characters, something the writers of DNA were clearly very cognizant of. Knowing what characters are coming is one thing, but how do you actually get all the characters? Watch this video to learn how to unlock any character in DNA, even future ones.